Hello, I'm Anthony. Been having a look at the production processes I used in finishing this song called Undertow. In part one, we talked about the inserts on the guitar and vocal tracks. I'll put a link to that above. Today we're going to talk about the send effects, which basically is reverb, and then a couple of effects that I've got on the master track. If you enjoyed this video, please check out the Patreon link in the description below or the join button to become a YouTube channel member. Both great ways to help support my channel. Really appreciate everybody who's signed up so far. Okay, reverb first. I'm going to mute the vocals. I'm going to get the song going, and then I'll bring the reverb in. I've got a FabFilter Pro R here, which appears initially to be an intimidating interface, but it really isn't. Basically, you've got an orange EQ curve to draw EQ for the reverb in exactly the same way that you would the main track. I tend to use the blue line less. This is basically how long it takes for different frequencies to attenuate. I frankly can't hear very much of that. It's kind of beyond my ears. And then the settings themselves are really pretty straightforward stuff. I've got a character knob here for modulation. I'm being pretty circumspect with the modulation in this track because the Dimension D guitar effect is all I need. I don't want any extra modulation from the reverb. Anyway, I'll shut up and let's start listening to it. Okay, here we go. Nice and subtle. Really don't like too much reverb on my songs. It's nice, it's clearly there, it's just gluing everything together, but it's not absolutely smacking you in the face. Obviously with your levels, because this is a send effect, I'm going to have the mix at 100% on my reverb. I've got the guitar track itself at 0 dB, and then I control the level, the amount of reverb going into the track from the send level here. So we've got minus 7.8 dB going in. These numbers are actually slightly different from the last time. I'm constantly tweaking this song in between each of these episodes. When we have a look at the vocal reverb, again it's a Pro R, and again it's a very similar reverb effect. 2 seconds of reverb. Lots of the settings are very similar. In fact, to be absolutely honest with you, I could have used the same reverb for both and started out that way. I ended up splitting them out primarily just to make sure that I had all of my routings nice and clear. The guitar was going to the guitar reverb, the vocal went to the vocal reverb. Nothing could get confused or kind of stepping over itself. And it's just the way that I prefer to work, try to keep things as absolutely simple as possible. But we'll use this one to demonstrate a couple of these EQ peaks and what happens when you really push them hard. Just need to unmute the vocals first, and then we'll get the song going dry initially, and then I'll bring the reverb in.
Out of the moonlight's gentle refrain, softly the footfalls fade beneath the paling light, and in the evening those that remain linger with longing, singing songs of rolling tides.
Really hear that like massively over exaggerated tingle.
Out of the moonlight,
now all the reverb is really dull.
Refrain, softly the footfalls fade beneath the paling light, and in the evening those that remain
It's really thinning the reverb out.
linger with longing, singing songs of rolling tides.
All that muddy woof. And we don't want muddy woof in our songs, do we? Not going to get too carried away eulogising about reverb. Everyone knows how wonderful an effect it is. It's really just a case of how much do you want, you know, what's your balance. Also realise that my guitar's a little bit low on this mix. Really do need to make sure that before I master this thing, I get all of my levels absolutely spot on. Okay, let's have a look at these master effects. Firstly, I'm just going to make sure that I've really got the right balance between the vocals and the guitar before we go any further. Okay, I've just realigned the levels between these two tracks to make sure that they're actually working. The guitar did need to be boosted a little bit. Okay, I'm going to get the thing going dry, and then I'll bring both master bus effects in simultaneously.
Out of the moonlight's gentle refrain, Softly the footfalls fade beneath the paling light, and in the evening those that remain linger with longing, singing songs of rolling tides.
I'm not going to try to pretend that that's a super dramatic effect. Of course it isn't, it's subtle, but that's what you want on master bus. You don't want to be fixing problems on the master bus. All I'm trying to do here is glue those two things together. So have a look at the different effects. Here's the API, really, really gentle. I've been going backwards and forwards between the ratio on this compressor so many times in the past couple of days. I can't really, it's so subtle, I should just basically get over myself.
Out of the moonlight's gentle refrain, softly the footfalls fade beneath the paling light, and in the evening those that...
Yeah, it's really, really nice, very subtle but warm. Glues those two tracks together beautifully. Multiple blind tests to prove to myself that I've not basically just disappeared down a rabbit hole here. I really am. Audibly preferring the effects and then finding out that, thank God, that they're on. I've not just been completely wasting the last half hour. Similarly with the LA2A, this is in compression mode. You'll often find this thing being used in limit mode, but I've got it as a compressor here, just doing a little bit more of that kind of warming up, gluing together job. Very subtle, never more than 3 dB at its absolute limit.
Out of the moonlight's gentle refrain, softly the footfalls fade beneath the paling light, and in the evening those that...
This is one that you hear more when you turn it off. You know, that was such a dip then in energy. I do like motorbikes going past my house, awesome. Yeah, you just lose all of the kind of the sparkle and the tingle from the song between these two compressors, and if either of them tries to do the whole job, it doesn't seem to work as well. I don't know why. I don't know whether or not this is confirmation bias, because I've been told that a couple of subtle effects are better than one, but I hear it and so I stick with it. And this is becoming quite a popular combo with me. The API 25 into the 2500 into the LA2A just seems to work really, really well. Now, the one thing that they don't take care of is sorting out the overall volume. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to reset these meters, and off camera I'll run the entire song and we'll see what Insight has to say, particularly about the true peak and the loudness values. We're aiming for a true peak that never exceeds 0 and an integrated loudness less than -14, and then we'll take care of the final step. Okay, so there we have it. I've just let that song run in the background, and you can see that these are the Insight meter readings. With these effects on, the song is actually very, very slightly quieter. More interestingly, you can actually see the compression in action. We've got a lower true peak value because those peaks are being clipped tiny amount, just over 1 decibel of clipping, or basically reduction of the peaks. We've also had a reduction in the loudness range. Obviously this is the loudest bits down to the quietest bits, just calmed them down a bit, but 4.9 is still a very dynamic piece of music. I've not squashed it to oblivion. All of the numbers are absolutely fine, never going anywhere past -4.9, which is nowhere near digital clipping. I've got 6 dB to bring up to get to the -14 if I want to output this to YouTube or Spotify, and that job is taken care of by the one effect that we've never listened to or never heard at any point during this process, which is Ozone. And this is basically in pure maximizer mode. I'm not using any of the additional features that the Master Assistant brought in. It wanted me to apply a load of extra EQ, massive bass boost. I kind of just disagree with it. I've already taken care of all of that. All I want Ozone to do is get me up to -14 LUFS without ever peaking. And so I basically let it listen to the entire song with that target threshold, and then it sets. So you can see I've got a -1 true peak, which is very, very safe. And then it basically sets the limiting value, how much to push the whole thing up, in order to make sure I hit that target. And if I played the entire song back again with Ozone on, then this integrated value would come out at -14. Basically just kind of trust me that that's what it does, but it literally just makes the entire thing louder. The maximizer circuit in Ozone is actually great as well. I think it does more than just boost the level. I really like Ozone being the last link in the chain. And that's it. The song is fully produced now. I'll make sure that all of these little tweaks that I've been doing over the last couple of days haven't broken anything. Have one final review, probably later today. Get that -14 version sent to Video Bolt and have the render done, and then the song will be ready to publish on YouTube. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.